Well, I'm delighted to have back with us today on Focus Today Dr. Jeff Myers. He's the president of Summit Ministries, an educational Christian ministry. And we're here to talk about what's happening with higher education, the president's agenda to see that there are more college graduates. Is it working? And what is the role of government in higher education? And so goes the conversation. So, Dr. Myers, what a delight to have you with us today.
Thank you, Perry. Great to be with you.
Yeah, nice to have you back. Well, this is quite the topic because education is the hot issue, at least one of the big hot issues in the debate going into this election cycle. How do you think America's doing in higher education?
Well, we're not doing that well. That's part of the problem in higher education. Of course, America still has the most robust university system of any country in the world, but our graduates are not performing that well compared to graduates, especially in the maths and the sciences and things like that. There's one area which our students seem to be doing really well, and that is in self-esteem. They don't know that much, but they seem to feel really good about it. So it is.
I'm dumb and proud of it, huh?
Well, you know what? It's unfortunate, really. The truth is that a lot of young adults today are not going to college, or they're dropping out of college because they don't have a sense of purpose or direction in life. And the president seems to think that, like with so many other things, that government intervention can solve the problem. And, Summit Ministries, we work with this age group. I've worked with, we probably have 60,000 young people in our community that we've worked with over the last several years. And we stay in touch with them. We're constantly helping them develop their leadership skills and so forth. And what we have found is actually really simple, that we developed this concept called social equilibrium. When a student gets to the point where his sense of purpose and direction in life is strong, and he also has matched that up with a good work ethic, the ability to tell the truth, to work well with other people, when you take those things and match them up, you actually have young people who are very competitive in the workforce. So it's not so much that a college graduate, having a college degree is going to solve the economic problem. It is that you have so many young adults in America who have no sense of purpose or direction in life because we haven't ever given them any sense of the truth. So my view is this is a great opportunity for Christians to step into the conversation and say, we know something about how to find a sense of purpose and direction in life, because that's really the source of the problem.
Well, it seems to me we want to do your course before they send them off to college, because so many students just wander into class having no idea what they're doing, what they want to be, where they're going, and they become disenchanted pretty quickly.
They absolutely do. And I think, and by the way, our Summit course, if people go to summit.org, you can see all the information about the Summit course there and why it is so important. In fact, I should mention this, Perry. I hate to just keep throwing out a bunch of websites here, but turningthetide.net is a place where people can actually get a 30-page report that we just put together about how it is that training young people to understand the times in which they live, understand the key ideas, actually lights them up in every other area of life, including life purpose. But that's what we found to be true, that young adults who understand the times in which they live, they look at the world of ideas, they have a confidence that the Christian worldview is reasonable and true, and then they know how to intelligently engage with people who have other worldviews. If they've got that, it makes an enormous difference. In the Christian sense, we found that they feel closer to God, they feel more confident in sharing their faith, they have a better prayer life, better devotional life, but they also are more likely to vote, they're more likely to make better entertainment choices, better friendship choices, better financial decisions, and so forth. So it really goes back to this vision verse that you find in 1 Chronicles 12:32. You want young adults who understand the times and know what America ought to do, in the same way that David wanted leaders who understood the times and knew what Israel ought to do.
So why is the president so anxious to be involved at the college level? I mean, what's his goal, and what does government intervention do?
Well, I understand why he's interested in college graduates, because the sheer statistical nature of this is what he's looking at. Young people who graduate from college are, over the course of their lifetime, going to earn, on the average, $1 million more. Now, of course, the problem is you confuse causation and correlation, right? That's always the difficulty in these statistical situations. The underlying assumption is that It's just the college degree itself that causes them to have this additional income potential. But that's not so. It is the fact that people have gone through the university experience and have had a sense of purpose and direction that guided them through that. In other words, if you say, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to major in, I think I'm going to major in sociology, and I'll rack up $100,000 in student loan debt, you're not going to make $1 million more during your lifetime. You probably, financially, if that's all you cared about, you'd have been better off getting into the trades. But if you actually have a degree, say in law or business or something like that, and you've found ways to make an economic contribution, then yeah, typically you will earn more than the typical high school graduate. So it's a causation correlation problem here, and we're simply trying to point out to the president and anybody else in his administration who will listen, more government intervention doesn't always make things better. Sometimes it makes it worse. When you have 4 out of 5 young people in America who say they have no sense of purpose or direction and that they know where they're going in life and why they would go there, and that's what the statistics show right now, we have a deeper problem than just getting people a piece of paper from a college.
Wow. So when somebody comes to you, how do you qualify or quantify what they're going to do? I mean, how do you bring this into focus? Do you have a series of questions you ask them?
That's pretty much how we do it. Actually, we begin with 3 different things. We first of all begin to help the young adults focus on God's providence in their lives. You know, there's so much of this comes back to a character issue. Several years ago, some friends of mine did a major study of Christian schools in America. These were Christian high schools. And they came back and they said, you know, we found something that you might find interesting. I said, what's that? They said, these Christian school students and their teachers and their parents are almost universally lacking in one really important character quality. I said, you got to tell me what it is. They said, it's gratitude. They have all of this potential, so much wealth by the world's standards, and they're ungrateful for the experiences that they've had.
Wow.
So we actually start with the young people. What are the things in your life that you can be grateful for? How do you express that gratefulness? How do you begin to understand how God has worked through the circumstances of your life already to bring you to the place he wants you to be? The second step in the process is helping them understand their God-given design. So we actually begin asking questions like, why don't you write down 15 to 25 experiences of things that you've accomplished during your lifetime, big or little, that gave you a tremendous sense of satisfaction in your life. And when they begin to write those things down, Perry, they start to see there's a thread that runs through them all. And that thread helps them understand. For example, when I write down my life experiences starting back when I was a small child, even age 4 or 5, I realized that I cannot not be a teacher. That's how God designed me. So for me, it was figuring out how do I go into being a teacher and best use the gifts that I have. And it's not any kind of teaching. There are some teachers who are very philosophical, right? I tend to be more of the teacher who takes the philosophical ideas and puts them into practical terms. Well, that was really helpful. Should I teach in a philosophy program? I have a doctorate in philosophy, but no, I probably should teach in a business school. So that's what I ended up doing, teaching business students and communication students, because it was much more practical. So we help them, we first start with God's providence, help them develop a spirit of gratefulness about what they've gone through in their lives. Second, we begin to look at their design, what God actually made them to be. And then third, we help them understand that really, truly, this comes down to hard work. There's a certain kind of, and it's not just hard work, by the way, it's experience. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to see Andy Roddick play tennis, but he's known as having the fastest serve in pro tennis. He can actually serve that ball at 156 miles an hour. I actually saw a video of him burying the ball in a clay court. He had served it so hard. But here's the interesting thing. At 156 miles an hour, at that distance, the scientists tell us that the opponent can't actually see the ball. It's moving too fast. But people regularly return Andy Roddick's serve. How do they do it? So they studied these great tennis players who could return an Andy Roddick serve, and they found that they weren't actually studying the ball as it came across the net. They were studying the position of Roddick's racket as he served, and then making a guess based on their experience as to where the ball would likely land, move their racket to that place, and then through pattern recognition, they were able to hit the ball back. Well, what made the difference? If I tried to hit an Andy Roddick serve back, truthfully, I would only do it if I had body armor, because I couldn't see that all coming. It would be terrifying to be standing there. But these people can regularly do it. How? Because they have experience. Well, the studies show that in order to be good at something, you have to have about 10,000 hours of experience. You have to learn from that experience. You have to grow from that experience. And there's only one shortcut, and the shortcut is this: people who find wise counselors. It all goes back to the proverb that says there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. So our third step working with students is to help them understand how to find the wise counselors, how to gain favor with these wise people, and how to help them work through their experiences so that the wise counsel they're getting from these other individuals can give them a shortcut to that experience. I don't know if that makes sense, but those 3 steps we have found substantially help young people unleash their life purpose. And we can do that in the course of a 12-day program here in our Summit Ministries program in Colorado.
Oh, that's outstanding. All right, give us those websites again, Jeff.
Well, the first one is summit.org. That'll tell everybody about the Summit programs. Now, we're in our last one for this year right now. So you can begin signing up for programs in 2013. We'll have a waiting list for most of these programs because you can imagine there are a lot of people clamoring for this kind of thing.
Right.
So summit.org is where you can find information on that. And then turningthetide.net is where people can get a free 30-page report that goes through and shows how, if you help young adults understand the times from a biblical viewpoint, it actually helps them succeed in every other area of life. So I don't know how to get that information to the president, but the truth is, if young adults can get that sense of purpose and direction, then a college degree will mean something. Otherwise, it's just a piece of paper.
Well, I'm just so excited about what you're doing. I'm going to connect you with one of our colleagues in New Zealand who is actually being called of God to leave the broadcasting field to do exactly what you're involved in, and maybe you guys could work together over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would take a trip to New Zealand sometime.
Hey, thank you, my friend. God bless you. Keep up the good work. We'll have you back again soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Lord bless you all.